All right, welcome to The Explainer. To all the MBA students tuning in today, buckle up because we are hitting the ground running. We've got a ton of fascinating psychology to cover, and we're jumping in right now. Let's kick things off by looking at three very specific, very real scenarios.
Picture this. It's the IPL final. It's 11:30 at night. You just finished dinner a couple of hours ago, and you are definitely not hungry. But the match is tense, right? And then a Zomato notification hits your phone at exactly the right moment. Boom, biryani ordered. Or how about this? It's 7 a.m. outside a sneaker store in Delhi. Someone has been standing in a massive wraparound queue for 3 hours just to buy a 12,000 rupee pair of Nikes. Their old shoes? They work perfectly fine. But these are different. Now jump over to a mall in Chennai. A father buys his 8-year-old daughter a stuffed toy. He absolutely knows she'll completely forget about it in 2 days, but he buys it anyway, just for that one fleeting moment of joy. So we have three completely different purchases, three completely different people. And honestly, none of these are strictly necessary. Okay, let's really dive into this. Why do people buy things they don't actually need? Well, here is the secret. Every single one of those examples is a completely rational decision once you understand the core engine of commerce, and that is consumer motivation. That's exactly what we're decoding today. And honestly, it's the single most important concept every marketer absolutely must grasp before designing a campaign.
Let's start with a quick definition. Motivation is basically that internal drive that pushes a consumer from a state of need to a state of action. The absolute golden rule of consumer psychology is this. Consumers do not buy products. They buy the resolution of a motivational state.
Think of motivation as a gap. On one side, you've got your current state, where you are right now. On the other side is your desired state, where you desperately want to be. Motivation is simply the force making you want to close that gap. You don't buy a gym membership. You buy the image of a fitter you. You don't buy a tarnished necklace. You buy the sheer joy on your mother's face when she unwraps it. Marketing theorists generally categorize this drive into three primary types. Let's break them down.
First up, we have utilitarian motivation. This is your functional, rational, purely problem-solving drive.
With utilitarian motivation, you're buying something simply because it solves a problem. It answers one very basic question. Does this actually work? Take the Honda Activa, which is India's best-selling two-wheeler. Literally nobody buys an Activa to feel cool. They buy it because it gives 50 kilometers per liter, there are service centers everywhere, and it handles Mumbai traffic without any drama. Or think of Tata Salt. You reach for it on the shelf automatically because Tata just means trusted quality. Or booking an Ola at 6:30 a.m. You don't care about the car model, you just need to catch a flight. It's pure utility. So, what's the crucial marketing implication here? If you're selling a utilitarian product, your messaging has to be rational, feature-focused, and totally proof-based. You literally have to prove functionality and reliability above everything else. Tell the consumer exactly how it works and explicitly show them why it's the better, more reliable option. But what happens when we completely step away from pure function? That's when we enter the world of hedonic motivation, which is entirely driven by impulse, emotion, and pleasure-seeking experiences. These days, online platforms have literally hijacked our impulses. Think about Zomato again. When they push that notification at midnight, you aren't actually hungry. They are intentionally triggering a craving. That biryani order is 100% hedonic. Or what about upgrading to an iPhone 16 when your old phone works totally fine? You aren't buying better call quality, you're buying that premium unboxing feeling. Or dropping 350 rupees on a cafe coffee you could easily make at home for 20 bucks. You're not paying for the coffee, right? You're paying for the corner seat, the free Wi-Fi, the whole aesthetic. The golden rule for marketers here is simple. Logic is your enemy. Do not sell features, sell feelings. Ever notice how Zomato never ever shows you nutritional information in their late night ads? Yeah, they definitely don't want you thinking about macros. They are selling the comfort and the pure indulgence of satisfying a craving. Okay, let's move to the third and honestly, probably the most underestimated motivation out there, social motivation. This one is entirely identity-based and status-driven. This is all about what your purchase signals to the outside world. To put that into perspective, consider this massive statistic. A survey found that 78% of buyers chose a specific brand primarily for its reputation, emotional value, and heritage identity. Specifically, 78% of Royal Enfield owners buy the bike for those exact reasons. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the bike's speed or fuel efficiency.
A Royal Enfield is an identity marker that tells the world you value freedom and independence. It's the exact same thing with Manyavar during wedding season. Nobody strictly needs a 40,000 rupee sherwani, but Indian weddings are deeply, intensely social events. Your clothes signal your family's status and command respect. Even with Indian sneaker culture, people queue up for hours for those Nikes because of the high aspiration, social signaling. The physical product is almost secondary to the community, the status, and the identity it projects. Now let's take a step back and see how a classic framework maps all these motivations together perfectly. We're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs applied strictly to the Indian context. Let's walk right up the pyramid, step by step. Down at the base, you have physiological needs. Think Amul and Parle G delivering basic, reliable nutrition to everyone. Move up to level 2, safety needs. Brands like LIC and Naukri.com fulfilling financial and employment security. Level 3 is social and belonging, Cadbury brilliantly selling that moment of connection with Kuch Meetha Ho Jaye rather than just selling chocolate. Up to level 4, esteem, Tanishq and Apple clearly signaling success and respect to everyone watching. And finally, at the absolute peak, self-actualization, platforms like Byju's and Unacademy selling the grand idea of becoming the absolute best version of yourself. So here's the ultimate Maslow rule for marketers. Know your level and speak that language exclusively. If you mismatch your messaging, like trying to use functional, safety-level messaging for a highly esteem-driven product like an iPhone, you are going to kill consumer desire instantly. All right, we are bringing it all together now. This is the great marketing takeaway, the final synthesis for this entire explainer.
The absolute biggest mistake brands make is marketing the product. Harping on the features and the specs. Truly great brands, they market the motivation. When LIC shows a touching ad of a father thinking of his daughter's future, they aren't selling a dry financial policy. They are brilliantly selling safety and love. They're hitting 2 different levels of Maslow simultaneously in a single 30-second commercial. That's the power of marketing the motivation.
To all the MBA students watching, I want you to mentally screenshot the matrix we're looking at right now. This is your ultimate exam takeaway for consumer motivation. Utilitarian is all about being functional and problem-solving, like a Honda Activa. Hedonic is emotional and experiential, like ordering Zomato. And social is deeply identity and status-driven, like riding a Royal Enfield. Burn this matrix right into your memory.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to chew on. What is the actual gap between your real self and your ideal self? Think about it, because in our next explainer, we are going to dive incredibly deep into how massive corporate empires have been built by ruthlessly exploiting that exact gap, the space between who you are right now and who you desperately want to be. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.